What is this right of self-determination? And despite UN Security Council resolution, it is not implemented. Why so?
It's 2026, and when we talk about the very same resolutions that were passed by the United Nations, we consider that today is the day of unfulfilled promises.
How you see the conflict and India-Pakistan relations in 2026?
This conflict of Jammu and Kashmir has been there for the past more than 7 decades.
True.
And the persistence of this conflict is important. The persistence of this conflict is not because of the absence of a mechanism, but rather the will of a political implementation.
United Kingdom is the country which actually created this dispute by its demarcation and giving a strategic link to the Indians to reach to Jammu and Kashmir. Why United Kingdom is not on the forefront for any struggle or effort to resolve or to do some sort of mediation, because it is party to this conflict back in 1947.
Violations that India has been committing and carrying out across in Azad Jammu and Kashmir as well have been documented. So for once, yes, I believe that the international world has heard the Kashmiris, although it has not translated into anything on the ground, but at least the deaf ears have at least opened up to the people of Jammu and Kashmir.
What do you think this 5th August 2019 action has affected the status of Jammu and Kashmir?
United Nations had very categorically back in 1956-57 passed the resolution that any local area elections or any alterations in the constitutions or the rules and laws will not affect the right of self-determination.
Why India is not so far willing to talk to Pakistan on Jammu and Kashmir?
Diplomacy and talks is definitely the final option, and there is apparently no escape from it. There is no escape from the United Nations resolutions as well, and they are the foundations that can actually lead to the solution of this long-sitting conflict of Jammu and Kashmir.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Hello and welcome to Program Insight in V News English. In today's conversation, we would like to know what is right of self-determination and how the people of Jammu and Kashmir can get it, how UN Security Council resolutions could be implemented, whether these resolutions are still intact, lost legal or international value, or these resolutions are still effective, and vis-a-vis there are latest developments in 2025 and 2026, what we are expecting, that will also come under conversation. We are fortunate to have with us a very senior analyst on Jammu and Kashmir, a person who is son of the soil, from originally belongs to Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir, but now resides in Pakistan and speaks on Jammu and Kashmir issue, Dr. Mujahid Gilani. Very warm welcome to Program Insight in V News English. Those viewers who might be watching or who wanted to listen on Jammu and Kashmir with some new angle, first explain what is this right of self-determination, and despite UN Security Council resolution, it is not implemented. Why so?
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Thank you for having me on this very important day, and let's delve back into the history and understand the 3rd June 1947 plan.
The partition plan.
Exactly. When we understand the 3rd June 1947 plan, we get to know that there are more than 550 princely states in the Indian subcontinent, and all those Indian subcontinent princely states were given the right to either join Pakistan or India. The same was vested upon the state of
Jammu and Kashmir was part of it?
Exactly. The state of Jammu and Kashmir was part of it. And at that point in time, what we understand is that the state of Jammu and Kashmir harbored more than 99% Muslim population, and all of them really eagerly wanted to join the state of the newly formed Pakistan. However, unfortunately, as the history tells us as well, and we get to know, the Maharaja of that time, Maharaja Hari Singh, signed a so-called instrument of accession with the Indian Dominion, and that is where
violating the voice of the people of Kashmir and their willings.
Absolutely. It was the people of Jammu and Kashmir even at that point in time. And may I quote the date? That was 19th of July 1947 when the people of Jammu and Kashmir...
Only a month before independence.
Exactly. Even before the formation of Pakistan. The people of Jammu and Kashmir had already casted their vote in favor of Pakistan. But unfortunately, violating...
And that thing was manipulated by Maharaja.
Violating all their aspirations, violating their wishes and desires. It was at that point in time that Maharaja Hari Singh signed the so-called instrument of accession, and that is thereafter the Indian terrorist forces landed in Srinagar. But this 5th of January 1949 is a very important day because this is the day when the International Committee understood, and not only understood but also promised the people of Jammu and Kashmir that they will be given the right to vote to either join Pakistan.
Who took up this matter in the UN Security Council?
And this is a very important question because most of the times people consider that it was either the people of Kashmir, it was either Pakistan, but it was Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, the first Prime Minister of India, who actually took the Kashmir question to the United Nations. And it was on his call, it was on his request that the International Committee, the United Nations at that point in time, recognized the right to self-determination, recognized the free, impartial and unbiased plebiscite is going to be held in the whole state of Jammu and Kashmir.
So then, once the UN Security Council resolution was adopted, what was the response of Jawaharlal Nehru? If I'm not wrong, he promised that it will be implemented.
Yes, absolutely, Mateen Sahab. I may quote his words, and his words are that we do not believe in forced marriages. It was Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru who said that it's not the land of Jammu and Kashmir that India wants, rather, it is the wishes and the desires and aspirations of the people of Jammu and Kashmir that the Indian Dominion will respect. The same were the words, more or less, of Lord Mountbatten as well. However, today it's 2026, and when we talk about the very same resolutions that were passed by the United Nations, we consider that today is the day of unfulfilled promises.
So, but of course, on one side, we are justified in criticizing India because India did not implement this resolution. On the other hand, there is a big question mark on the United Nations as well. UN has so many tools, leverages, so many methods, so many strategies that it can adopt and take action against those countries which are violating the Security Council resolution, which are originally binding on member state, and India is one of the members.
Absolutely true, Mateen Saab. And the more important thing is that the mechanism for the freedom or the right of self-determination to be vested or to be embodied to the people of Jammu and Kashmir was already designed. It wasn't as if that it came out of a thin air or it popped out of the ground, but it was actually the mechanism was designed and actually conveyed to not only the people of Jammu and Kashmir, but also to both Pakistan and India. But unfortunately, as we see the Indian obstinacy, even today, after 7 decades, more than 7 decades have
of
passed.
occupation, exactly.
Exactly. Of illegal occupation, more than 7 decades. Unfortunately, the people of Jammu and Kashmir have not been given this right.
So, not been given this right. 2026 is a year which a lot of hopes. And couple of days back, Pakistan's ambassador to United Nations, Ambassador Asim Iftikhar, sitting in the same studios, he expressed the hope that there could be a lot of voices emanating from United Nations, and he hoped that there could be progressive movement towards lingering issues of Jammu and Kashmir. So what do you think, what United Nations can do? 2025 was very challenging year. Pahalgam incident took place.
Yes.
And under the garb of this occupation in Jammu and Kashmir, every year, or rather throughout the year, India tried to create certain things, false flag operations, and implicate Pakistan, then implicate Azad Jammu and Kashmir as well.
Yes.
And and that we have seen then on 10th of May, there was a major attack. So, do you think, number one, it is a flashpoint in South Asia? We have already witnessed last year a major conflict, United Nations intervening and maintaining ceasefire. So, how you see the conflict and India-Pakistan relations in 2026?
You see, Mateen sir, one of the most important considerations is that this conflict of Jammu and Kashmir has been there for the past more than 7 decades.
True.
And the persistence of this conflict is important. The persistence of this conflict is not because of the absence of a mechanism, but rather the will of a political implementation. And this absence
on the part of India, on the part of Pakistan, there is no doubt as far as will is concerned.
I would actually inculcate the rest of the world into it as well. Because once we see that Indian obstinacy is over there, and it exists very much established, it is the duty of the movers and shakers of the world to actually implement BDS or a boycott, divestment and sanctions on the Indian dominion. For if you can actually go to any land for East Timor, for if you can go to any land for the other smaller countries, South Sudan, what are the people living in the Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir? Are they not humans? Are they sons of lesser God? Are they demons, or are they considered to be only terrorists?
As just the recent example, how America military intervened in Venezuela, captured and everything. Same thing could be done in Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir.
And this is what I believe that the United Nations must take into consideration. This area, the regional area, the geographical contingency of Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir is Pakistan, a nuclear state, India, a nuclear state, Russia and China, both are nuclear states, and we've already seen the Russia and Ukraine skirmishes and the war that has been going on for the past many years now. And this is important to understand that if this continues on, this state of Jammu and Kashmir, where humans actually live, where the humans have been paying the cost of more than 600,000 Kashmiris till now, I believe this is going to be a real havoc for the whole world.
Dr. Mujahid Gilani sir, we always talk about role of United States of America, that it is most influential country. But United Kingdom is the country which actually created this dispute by its demarcation and giving a strategic link to the Indians to reach to Jammu and Kashmir. So what are your comments? Why United Kingdom is not on the forefront for any struggle or effort to resolve or to do some sort of mediation, because it is party to this conflict back in 1947?
Well, you see, Mateen sir, if we consider this narrative that United Kingdom or Britishers themselves, they have not been in the forefront of solving this issue. When we talk about the Kashmir...
Rather, they are part of it to make it more complex? Yes.
Kind of, yes, that is true. Because when we talk about Kashmir issue back in from 1947 till 1957, that is when the United Nations actually passed more or less the 18 resolutions that were carried out on the state of Jammu and Kashmir. The Britishers were there, yes. And for once, we should also agree that different delegations that were sent to the Indian subcontinent, that is Pakistan, India, and then Kashmir as well, were, however, or somehow facilitated by the P5 countries of that time, except for the USSR or the Russians. Today, when we talk about Jammu and Kashmir itself, one thing that we must understand is that the movers and shakers, the prosperous world ever since 2016 has talked about Kashmir. The epidemic of dead eyes, New York Times, Washington Post, Recorders, all those international magazines and newspapers have talked about Kashmir. Al Jazeera, the Arab World, the OIC, even the Office of the Human Rights.
You see, this is a new development, a changing thing in the West?
I believe that this is something that the Kashmiris have paid the price for. They have laid down their lives for. The Office of the Human Rights Commission giving out the report in 2018, 2019, talking about Kashmiris. In fact, the US and the UK congregational hearings about the people of Jammu and Kashmir, about the international organized war crimes that the Indian Dominion has been carrying out in the state of Jammu and Kashmir, and not only in the Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir, but also the ceasefire violations that India has been committing and carrying out across in Azad Jammu and Kashmir as well, have been documented. So for once, yes, I believe that the international world has heard the Kashmiris, although it has not translated into anything on the ground, but at least the deaf ears have at least opened up to the people of Jammu and Kashmir. It is, I believe, now to the people who live in the free environment. It is, I believe, to the people who can actually speak up, come vehemently and talk about the people of Jammu and Kashmir. It is very important for them that they should bring forward the voices, originality from Jammu and Kashmir, and they are the ones who are going to project the case. They are the ones who are going to bring out the stories from Kashmir, and I believe that is going to have an effect.
So, as you highlighted suffering of the people of Jammu and Kashmir, and you referred to United Nations Human Rights Council's number of reports, and that United Nations Human Rights Council is based right in Geneva, in the heart of Europe.
Yes.
So these Europeans are quite sensitive when an animal is killed, and they speak a lot about the rights of animal, and then hundreds and thousands of people have been butchered, killed by the Indian security forces. My question is, these European countries, the Western countries, which is so-called champion of human rights, why they are so silent is because of economic and trade interests with India?
One of the most major things is definitely that. Unfortunately, India being a bigger economic trade area, unfortunately, the Indians themselves having achieved and carrying positions of dominance, not only in the West, in the United States and Canada as well. I believe this is one of the most major reasons where the people of Jammu and Kashmir particularly are not talked about in these sectors of the prosperous world. But all the same, one of the most important things when you're talking to a Kashmiri, somebody who has stakes in this freedom struggle and whose family is in the forefront of this freedom struggle, we do not really look towards the prosperous world. We do not look towards Donald Trump, and I'm very blunt about it. What we do is that we look towards people who we feel for, and that is Pakistan. Pakistan has paid the price. Pakistan has paid the price to be with the people of Jammu and Kashmir. The people of Pakistan have paid the price for that as well. And for us, a Kashmiri, we believe that our lawyer, our advocate in the prosperous world, in the free world, is Pakistan itself. And not only that, when we talk about our diaspora living in the European countries, in the US as well.
That is very influential diaspora.
And not only that, they are influential. They have been talking about Kashmir as well. So this is where I believe the seed of freedom has already been sowed from the sacrifices of the people of Jammu and Kashmir on the ground from 1947 till 1990, and then a different era from 1990 till 2019. The people of Jammu and Kashmir have shown resilience and resistance to India that they are going to get freedom from the Indian hegemony.
So how you see quickly, then I will come back to this Marka-e-Haq of 2025 later on. But how do you see the unilateral action of 5th of August 2019? After that, there have been a number of times Pakistan raised this issue in the United Nations as well. Pakistan highlighted that thing. But so far, India has not moved, and it has not taken any decision or any move to reverse that. And what do you think this 5th August 2019 action has affected the status of Jammu and Kashmir?
Well, once again, if you talk about the United Nations resolution, since this is the day for it, the United Nations had very categorically back in 1956-57 passed the resolution that any local area elections or any alterations in the constitutions or the rules and laws will not will not affect the
Will not.
right of self-determination. So this was passed in 1957. That's almost...
So these all moves are
Absolutely.
against the UN resolutions.
not only against the United Nations resolutions, but against the Indian Constitution itself. The unilateral actions of 5th of August, abrogation of both the articles, were not only against the international law, but also against the Indian Constitution as well. But when you are talking to a Kashmiri about it, somebody who's from the ground, and I will quote the words of Dr. Qasim Faktu, who has been behind bars for the past 32 years now.
32 years.
Yes.
Still behind the
And
bars.
he's still behind the bars, the husband of Sayyida Asya Andrabi. And it was back in 2015. That is when the articles were not even abrogated
Abrogated,
yet.
exactly. It was in 19.
Very clear. He was very clear about it in his book and in his writings that India will ultimately push the Kashmiris against the wall to a level that they are going to make the Kashmiris ask for simple, mere civic rights under the Indian Constitution instead of azadi, instead of the right of self-determination. That is exactly what India has been strategizing as well. So today, when we talk about it in 2026, this is probably going to be our next question. Over the past 7 to 8 years, the demography has changed drastically.
Demography has changed drastically.
Yes. The demography has changed drastically. The people of Jammu and Kashmir who used to hail a Muslim dominance back in 1947, even till 2019, now what we see is that the Indian Dominion is very cleverly giving and issuing domiciles, giving this label of being a Kashmiri to somebody who has never been to Kashmir before, or somebody who cannot claim to be a
And
Kashmiri.
these all things are meant to change the demography.
Settler colonialism is the new brand today, and this is what India is this is what India is playing right now. Settler colonialism, bringing people from outside Jammu and Kashmir.
Settler colonialism.
Yes, settler colonialism is the word of today.
So in 2025, we have seen that India attacked Pakistan on multiple fronts, on Pakistan as well, and on Azad Jammu and Kashmir at line of control. There was massive attacks, and ultimately leading this to a major response by Pakistan.
Yes.
Since then, US President intervened and mediated and finally brought ceasefire. But since May, we have seen Indian military and political leadership continuously giving threatening statements, mainly focused on Azad Jammu and Kashmir. We will snatch it. Allegedly, there are terror camps over there, so many things. So what do you make of such threatening statements of Indian military and political leaders despite getting a befitting response? Do you think they are making such statements only to pressurize, or they mean it?
For once, I would actually give the credit to BJP as an enemy of the state, as an enemy of the Kashmiri people themselves. I would actually give the credit to BJP and Narendra Modi that whatever they claimed in the election manifesto, they tried to follow it. Be it the Ram Mandir, be it the abrogation of both the articles in Jammu and Kashmir, or be it the Citizenship Amendment Act and then the bill that was formed. When actually India talks about Azad Jammu and Kashmir, India does not really just settles down on Azad Jammu and Kashmir. The Indian Parliament has the map of what I call as Akhand Bharat, and that Akhand Bharat includes Pakistan as well. In fact,
Akhand Bharat includes Pakistan as well.
Yes, in fact, it includes Afghanistan as well. And this is not me telling you. This is a few of the very renowned journalists who went to the Indian Parliament as well, and they know that the map of Akhand Bharat hangs over there with all these territorial distributions. So for once, yes, whenever Amit Shah, Narendra Modi, or these BJP goons and the followers of Hindutva ideology talk about Azad Kashmir, in their heart, they do mean it. But all the same, we also understand Ajit Doval, the strategy that they are actually, the strategies that they're actually following, knows it as well, that Pakistan is not a child's play. And the 10th of May, the Bunyanum Marsus has proven it. And it's not today that Bunyanum Marsus has proven it. It has been over several decades that India has never been able to accept the Minar-e-Pakistan. Even if Bajpayee did visit it back in 2000s, we must also acknowledge the fact that it was the same Bajpayee who martyred the Babri Masjid in the early 1990s.
So India may not commit this mistake again.
Let India do so. This is what the people of Jammu and Kashmir, and I believe very strongly that the people of Pakistan and the armed forces of Pakistan have the guts and courage to tell India.
So, coming back to the United Nations Human Rights Council, that is very effective forum. Number of times it's adopted reports, resolutions, but no attention. United Nations adopted Security Council resolution, and time and again during last 77 years, there have been several debates and things like that. Now coming to the US President Trump, who more than 50 times made it clear that he brought ceasefire between Pakistan and India. And when he made that tweet and posted that tweet, it was also mentioned that he will ensure that India, Pakistan sit together and talk. Pakistan has said that it is always willing to talk on Jammu and Kashmir, number one. But India has not given any willingness. Other than United Nations, US is the only influential country. So what do you think? Why India is not so far willing to talk to Pakistan on Jammu and Kashmir, and which could be any other country which could force India to sit with Pakistan and talk, number one, on Jammu and Kashmir, and then subsequently other issues?
Well, the geopolitical tide has definitely turned towards Pakistan over the past 1 year. And we must acknowledge this, that India has been at the back foot over the year as well. Be it Bunyanu Mursus that actually proved that Pakistan is not a child's play, that Pakistan is not a state that anyone can just eat up. And the second most important thing that we must acknowledge is that India has been actually tilting the balance as well. On one hand, India is on a friendly note with the United States, but on the other hand, India has been entering into trade ties with Russia as well.
Exactly, so, very strong trade ties.
Yes, very strong trade ties. And when we...
and on a recent visit by Mr. Putin, it again defied the Western sanctions. Yes. And went for oil import and many, many other things.
Absolutely. And this is something when we look into the psychology of Donald Trump, the President of the United States, we would understand that perhaps this is something that displeases the United States. So, yes, the tides have turned towards Pakistan, and this is the time and moment when Pakistan should reap the maximum benefits from whatever is happening in the international scenarios.
That is in favor of Pakistan. This is what my question is. Other than this physical war, there has been a war of narratives as well.
True.
How you see after 10th of May, Mark-e-Haq, that international community then accepted Pakistani narrative, that whatever Pakistan used to say, India failed to provide any evidence of 22nd April, Pahalgam incident. Pakistan offered investigation. India leveled serious baseless allegation. So how you see Pakistan's narrative? As you mentioned, that tide is now in favor of Pakistan. So how the world views Pakistani narrative on Jammu and Kashmir?
I believe that this was actually the cherry on the top. Pakistan has been offering India joint investigations previously as well, and every time Pakistan...
in Pulwama as well?
And every time Pakistan has stood vindicated. And the world actually understands and knows this. And ever since the 10th of May, that is 2025, Bunyanu Mursus, when the AVM actually stood up and gave the score of 6-0. This is what moved the world as well. And
AVM of?
AVM of Pakistan.
Oh, Mr. Aurangzeb.
Yes, Mr. Aurangzeb.
During a briefing at ISPR, exactly.
Yes, exactly. That was the score when he put it up. It's 6-0 or 6-0. This is what he had told not only Pakistani, but everyone in the world.
It was watched globally, exactly.
It was watched globally. And this is what proved the worth of Pakistan as a defense state as well. You see, the war of narratives can only be run, can only be established, can only be made acceptable to the world once you are something in yourself. I believe once being a very defense state, a security state, that Pakistan has proven itself. Pakistan needs to prove itself on the economic fronts as well. Like I said, the geopolitical tides, the geosecurity tides have turned into favor of Pakistan. This is the high peak time that Pakistan must cultivate and reap the maximum benefits. Particularly, the most vital interest in the Pakistan's policy is Jammu and Kashmir. Pakistan must get whatever it can towards itself, according to the aspirations of people of Jammu and Kashmir.
Last point, which is connected to your this last sentence, that Pakistan should do maximum. What are the options available for Pakistan? Of course, Pakistan did not strike first. When India carried out strike, then in strong defense, Pakistan did. So what are the options available? As you said, Pakistan should do maximum for Jammu and Kashmir. Diplomatically, Pakistan has been doing. Is military action is the solution, or diplomacy and talks is the only option?
You see, diplomacy and talks is definitely the final option, and there is apparently no escape from it. There is no escape from the United Nations resolutions as well, and they are the foundations that can actually lead to the solution of this long-sitting conflict of Jammu and Kashmir. But on the other hand, I would also acknowledge, and I would also like to project this, I would also like to reiterate that the people of Jammu and Kashmir hold the right of having the barrel of the gun to decide between India and the Kashmiris, according to the United Nations resolution. Back in December 1982, 3742 United Nations resolution, this is what imparts the people of Jammu and Kashmir to hold the barrel of the gun, to ask India for the right of self-determination using the barrel of the gun as well. On one hand, the Kashmiris have always used the ink, have always used the pen, have always used the words in the political possibilities in political arena. But the gun is definitely one of the approved methods by the prosperous world as well.
So you think this armed struggle, if carried out currently, there is no carried out by the people of Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir, that is justified armed struggle?
Absolutely. Indigenous armed struggle against the oppressor, indigenous armed struggle against the illegal occupier. This is my land, this is my Kashmir, and India is a stranger to it. India cannot be on it. For the people of Jammu and Kashmir, yes, the armed struggle is validated.
Thank you so much, Dr. Mujahid Gilani Saab, and your final word that armed struggle is justified because people of Jammu and Kashmir are on foreign occupation by India and they have every right to this. And second important point you made, that the seeds of this independence have already been sown.
True.
Thank you so much for joining our program on this historic day. Every year, 5th January is observed as a day of right of self-determination for the people of Jammu and Kashmir. And dear viewer, till our next program, goodbye and Khuda Hafiz.